In this video, I'll share with you some keys, some principles, and some examples around how you can build and find fulfillment in your daily life. Okay? So first I'll start with telling you a story, personal story. About 20 years ago, I was living in Boulder, Colorado. I had everything that I could have wanted at that time in my life. I was going to graduate school and studying psychology, which is something I was really interested in. It was like the first time that I wanted to find a career deeply in something, working with people, serving people. I had some friends that were awesome, and we had deep, meaningful relationships. I was dating at that time. I'm a celibate monk now, but I was dating at that time, and I was enjoying that experience, actually, meeting different people. I had passions around the outdoors. I was a high-performance rock climber. I would go on these runs for 10 to 15 miles in the mountains without any water and just jump into creeks, and it was amazing. What else? I started meditating, which was cool and interesting for me at that time. I was new to it, so I was being taught mindfulness-based meditation, which was great. And I was doing all these things in the outside of my life. And fortunately for me, I started suffering a lot. I didn't understand why, because I was doing all the things that someone would do who was healthy. In fact, I remember when I was in graduate school, I would probably call it depression, even though I was working with a therapist and she didn't really call it that. I just had this desire to die. I wasn't suicidal. I wasn't actively making a plan to end my life and to kill myself. But I was in so much pain that I remember driving home. I was teaching at a community college. I was teaching mathematics at a community college. And I was driving home one night and there was all this traffic. And I just remember this thought that, I wouldn't really mind if I just got hit by a car and everything ended. It would have been relieving in a way. That's how much pain I was in at that time in my life. That's maybe the second or third time that I was suicidal or wanted to die in my life at that time, and I was in my late 20s then. So it was brutal. Now, I say fortunately for me, I was suffering because it had me dig deep and really look at myself and get help, right? So I want to outline 3 principles that are going to help you find fulfillment in your life. First, you need to, and we are going to, and I needed to, and I still do, need to look at the internal world, right? What does this mean? It means taking time with myself without any distractions, going on a walk, sitting in nature, sitting in my room, maybe journaling, and just allowing myself to feel, allowing myself to contemplate, and with a specific purpose, if this works for you, asking and listening, what's my purpose? Now let's talk about purpose for a moment. Purpose in especially the Western world is like, what do I do? What do I do? What am I going to do with my life? What am I in action about? In the Eastern world, and a part of our monastic order and our teachings and our spiritual path, we talk about Dharma. Dharma has a deeper experience than purpose. Dharma is like, what are we being called into in our life? What has us feel so fulfilled when we're doing it that somehow some things just feel complete inside of us, right? And this could be a profession, it could be a role, it could be a lot of different things. But Dharma is really about fulfilling a soul's purpose. And your soul's purpose will come to you when the time is right. It does take looking for it. It takes turning your gaze away from, in a way, the superficiality of your life and looking inside, ultimately looking from the lens of your heart, right? So you may contemplate, what is my Dharma? What is it that I could do that would have me feel more fulfilled? And what I mean by that is, you can do this. You can scroll on TikTok or YouTube, like these videos. I think that's great to do on Instagram, all the social media. It's great to look and hear what people have to say about that because it will inform your looking. Ultimately, you have to look inside, and you have got to spend time on your own just reflecting, being, eyes open, eyes closed, in nature. Because if you ask for fulfillment, and if you ask to have the awareness of your dharma, it's not going to come oftentimes in a loudspeaker out of a stadium per se. It will come as a whisper at first. And the more that you get in touch with yourself, that whisper will turn into a voice. And eventually you will start to hear and listen with the ears of the heart around certain actions that you can take, certain relationships that you might begin or end. That will help refine what you are to actually do in the outside world, the external world, right? So that's the inner world that we want to look at if you want to find fulfillment. And that's the most important part. The external world will help support your finding in the internal world. Here's what I mean by that. You want to start to structure your life such that health and listening to your intuition is easily heard, right? So I'm talking about the basics. Nutrition. Eat things that are as close to nature intended. Fruits, vegetables, if you eat meat, eat organic meat that's, that has good practices with animals and things like that. Fish, those kinds of things. Like eat well, sleep well, right? Create a nice sleep and wake regimen that has your biorhythms get into a good place. Get healthy, You really want to feel vitality, and you want to feel vital. That this will support the internal work that will start to happen. Not that you'll do, that will start to unfold as you start to look and as you start to ask with an intent. Brain health, very important. What you eat, how you sleep, exercise is vitally important to brain health. It's like we can't listen to our intuition if we're eating fast food or in the middle of the night or have hard sleep patterns and all of this, right? Intuition comes to us. We strengthen our listening of intuition when we're healthy, right? And so you'll know what this is for you. Maybe it's adjusting your diet or your sleep schedule or paying more attention to ways that you eat or sleep, those kinds of pieces, right? So the second principle is the external world will support the internal world to find that fulfillment. Once you create that structure of your external life and it starts to more and more support that internal contemplation, that inner feeling, that inner allowing, then you will be guided intuitively to take certain actions and to make certain decisions. And you don't have to wonder what they're going to be. They will just come to you. And if you don't know what they are, find a good friend, find a coach, find a therapist, find somebody who you can talk to, and they'll ask you questions, and your first thought is probably your best thought. Oftentimes the intuition comes at that first thought that pops into your mind before you can add layers of justification or reasoning or that's not possible, things like this, right? So now let's talk about the third principle, the interface or the expression of the internal and the external. Now, here's what I found with fulfillment, and I did lots of study with this over the last 20 years because I was looking for it very early in my, let's call it spiritual career, when it started about 17 or 20 years ago. And I've practiced all of these things, and here's what I've found in terms of the interface, the expression of finding fulfillment or dharma in your life. One, you've got to find a role where you can serve. Now, service can take on a lot of different meanings. You could be the leader of a company. You could be the leader of an organization. I've served various leadership roles in my life. And if you relate to that leadership as if you are serving people, it will really shift how you feel in those roles. Now, a lot of you are probably parents. That's a very obvious service leadership role. You are constantly in service to your family. And if you are not feeling good about that, go to principle 1. This is probably where you need to go back and spend time on your own. And I know it might be challenging to do, but you can absolutely find a solution of finding time for yourself. And I bet you could even ask your family to support you with that. Right? So, all right, in this interface, this expression of the internal and external world, Find a way to express service, and you'll have to find a way to enjoy it. It can't be resentful service. Obviously, that doesn't work. Find a way to enjoy the service aspect of your role, of your life, and these different roles, right? That takes humility. That takes strength and resilience. It takes looking for meaning and developing a certain mindset that has you see and harvest the good, as one teacher calls it, in any situation. Create a mindset where you can be grateful for whatever's happening. There's more that I go into in other videos around how to be grateful in any moment of your life, but this is an aspect of being in service. That's one quality. Second quality, develop an achievement mindset, meaning you are always progressing. Even if you're experiencing setbacks or suffering or losses, who knows, people are dying, you have health issues, your family or you are experiencing financial difficulties, you're in debt, whatever it is, see this as a forward motion because it is. There is always something to learn from any challenges that come in our life. And, a lot of people talk about this as challenges don't even exist. They're just opportunities, which is true. And I think that calling them just opportunities without the challenging part doesn't do service to how hard it can be sometimes or how challenging it can feel. So it's fine if it's hard. It's fine if it's painful or if it's uncomfortable. That will unearth your ability to be resilient and to continue progressing in your life. Achievement mindset means that you're growing and that you're focused on growth, that you're focused on progress, that no matter what's happening, somehow you are harvesting the good from that situation and creating some meaning from it that has you progress into the next version of yourself, right? So let me summarize here. If you want to find fulfillment and if you want to find dharma or purpose in your life, first look at the internal. Time with yourself, journaling, contemplating, being, not doing as much as you can in every day of your life. Even if it's 5 minutes a day, that's okay. That seed will have time to start to sprout during those 5 minutes. And it will set the tone for your day, especially if you do it in the morning, because you can revisit that moment throughout the day. Secondly, focus on the external world, your nutrition, your sleep, your relationships. You're creating a vital life for yourself where everything serves you in some way. And that might mean pruning different aspects of your life, different habits that you have, different relationships that don't really serve you anymore, right? And then thirdly, the expression of that internal and external world into the world can look like being in service and having an achievement mindset. If this is valuable for you, give a thumbs up down below and subscribe if you'd like. And always, please, I welcome comments, and all my best to you.